Hey, what's up? Thanks so much for clicking on my video. My name is Izzy and this is Quarter Life Crisis. Today, I'm going to be talking about how I prepare for coding interviews. All right, so before we get started, I just want to say that the way that I prepare for tech interviews is actually very aggressive, and it's because I really want to get the job, and I will do anything it takes to get that job. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I do to prepare for a tech interview is that I will actually research the person trying to interview me, right? Generally, this person is probably gonna be your manager, or probably represents a good portion of the org that you're about to join. So they will know the most. So what I like to do is I like to look them up on LinkedIn, and I like to see their past project history and where they've worked. When the interview does start, I want to be able to ask them why they're into certain bits of technology, and it shows to them that I might have the same interests. The point is that I want to tip the scale in my favor so that they'll like me. So another place to look for information is actually social media. For me personally, I like to look up who is interviewing me because I want to be able to find out what they're into, right? Because if I'm into those things, I kind of want to try to sneak that interest into the conversation so that it provides me an edge, right? Again, I really want them to understand me as a person, not just as a developer. And then again, if I like the same things they like, I'm pretty sure they'll get a good impression or a better impression of my interview, regardless of how I perform during the technical portion. So the next step is actually to research the company. In particular, you're going to be looking for the products that they make and the value that they provide to the space. So to give you guys a quick story, I once interviewed for a place where I was particularly being interviewed to create something called ABC Tech, something like that, right? And at the end of the interview, they asked me, "Oh, so what does AB Tech do?" Right? And I did not know at all what the product or the project that I would be working on was. And so that probably in the end is what caused them to not really like me, right? Essentially, I want to show that I'm invested in the company and that I'm invested in the product, because the person that's interviewing me is probably one of the leads on that project. So if you're not gung-ho about it, if you haven't researched, then they're going to be like, okay, I'm just going to find someone that is more passionate than you are. So also in terms of researching the company, what you want to do before the actual technical interview is during the behavioral section of the interview, you want to probe for what type of company this is. You want to probe for information that's going to help you in the second tech interview. So some things that you want to probe for are: what technologies do they use? What is the work life there like? What is the holiday schedule like? And how do people generally interact, right? You want to show the interviewer that you are invested in their company. And you should be, because you're about to work here, so you better make it the best place, right? And then just the last thing in terms of researching the company is I actually like to look up the company on Facebook. Generally, they'll have pictures of their office, and in it you can see the culture of the company, right? And when you see those pictures, you can probably bring it up during the interview and ask them hey, is it often that these parties occur, or is it always this fun? What is it like? Generally you just want to get the conversation going, because again, your job is to show them that you are invested in the company. So the next thing that I highly recommend is you actually need to mock interview, as in try to simulate what an interview would actually be like. So in this case, what I like to do is I actually like to ask a friend to call me via a phone or Google Hangouts, and I want to prepare a list of questions for them that they can ask me, and I have to answer them aloud to my friend as if I was being interviewed, right? And also the list of questions, this is questions that I have to brainstorm and try to anticipate what I believe these people might ask. And if you did the steps where you research what technologies they're into and what their experience is, then you might be able to anticipate what they will ask a lot easier. So for one of the questions that your friend should ask you is to explain every single line of your resume. If you think about it, up until this point, no one at the company really knows who you are, and their only reference is the resume. So they're going to be drilling you on the resume. So please be able to speak intelligently and at length about every single aspect of your own resume. Also, as another bonus tip, what I hate to see is when I see a resume and all I see on the projects are school projects. If you just think about it, you in your class of maybe 300 people are also interviewing at the same time for the same job. So I don't really think that you're going to stand out if you also have the same calculator app or the to-do list that every one of your classmates has, right? And that's just the 300 people from your school. That's not even counting other schools and other regions and people trying to dial in to have this interview. So you really need to put projects on your resume that are ones that come from yourself, the ones that you've generated, maybe the project-based learning that I talk about in How to Be a Developer, right? And if you don't have any, this would be a clear indicator that you need to start project-based learning, and doing your own things on the side. This is all so that you can prepare for these interviews and have talking points. So the next thing I prepare for is actually the section that I struggle with the most. It is the technical interviews. So first off, realize that they are trying to give you questions that will stretch you thin. So it's not about practicing every single practice problem out there, because they will try to find a way to give you one where you don't know the answer at all. And they want to see you squirm so that they know how you act when the pressure is on during real development, during real employment. You need to find a website that has coding challenges and do a couple of them every day. This helps to jog your memory and keep you in the mindset that you must be thinking algorithmically, oh my gosh, you must be thinking algorithmically to solve these problems. And on top of that, I can't just prepare by practicing these algorithms in my head. If you're not writing down the solution to the algorithm on a whiteboard or a piece of paper, I don't actually think you are practicing, because you actually need to simulate the experience of being in that interview room. So in keeping with simulating the interview room, when you solve this, you actually need to pretend like there is someone else in the room listening to you. And even better, take that friend that gave you the mock phone interview and bring them into the room and just have them critique and ask questions. Just like how you should be doing in the interview, during your mock interview or during your practice, you should be speaking out loud as you write down the solution. So during actual algorithm solves, there's going to be points where you can't talk. So I would also practice saying, excuse me, I need to think a little bit on this. Can you please give me a second? And then maybe every 30 seconds, just update them with what you're thinking. The point is, during a real interview, you just don't want to stay quiet. They're trying to evaluate what it's like to work with you. And I hate working with someone that doesn't talk to me. Okay, so now you've solved the tech questions or the tech challenges. And this is the last part of the interview process, really. And they ask you, do you have any questions? I would use this time to actually ask questions that prove to them that you are worth hiring. So some questions that I like to ask to the technical reviewer or the interviewer is, what is the tech stack and why did you choose it? I like to ask, what is the software development lifecycle like at that particular company? This helps me give an insight into what problems they might have, or I can speak about my previous experience, but why I like something else better. This is more to kind of show that you are not necessarily just a developer, but you're thinking about the good of the company. It's also really good to ask them what they in particular think the company is doing well and what they're lacking. Because at the end of the day, what really gets the money flowing to the company is the actual products they develop and the direction that they're going. It's really nice that you know how to dev, but if you also have an entrepreneurial mindset where you can push a product forward, it may also show them that you are worth hiring. Everything that I've said has boiled down into you need to prepare, you need to do research on every single aspect of the interview. This helps you to propel you forward in the case that you fall flat during the tech interview. The next step is to actually become good at the tech interview. Practice this like your life depends on it, because it kind of does. You're trying to make a lot of money. You're trying to convince people to hire you, so you better be the best candidate. And the next overall thing that you should really think in your head is that do not forget that the person on the other side of the phone is also a human being. They're trying to get their name out there. They're trying to become better, and they're trying to make money as well. So you need to say whatever you need to say and actually be what you need to be so that you can help propel them to their next state in life. Because again, you want to be attractive. You want to attract this person. You want to make them believe that you can do it. So anyways, that's the end of the video. Frankly, all of the sections of this video can be expanded into much larger ones. Please let me know if you want me to talk into detail into any of the different sections. I've interviewed a lot and I failed a lot of interviews, so I think I know a little bit about them. So you've made it to the end of the video, and I just want to thank you for making it this far. If you liked the video, if you got any value from it, please drop a comment and let me know what you think or ask any questions. I'm really eager to help, and also subscribe if you just want to see more content like this. With that, thank you so much. Have a good day.